Julian, thanks for being with us. Can you tell us how the DeBungee family is taking this news?
Well, first of all, I should tell you that they were notified some months ago that the matter was being transferred from the Broken Trust OIPRD investigation team to become a formal criminal investigation. So they've known for some 4 months that this was in the works. There's some relief that finally some serious investigators are going to take a look at this. But frankly, it's been 6 years since Stacy DeBungee died in suspicious circumstances. It's been, of those 6 years, the Thunder Bay Police for 5.5 years have basically obfuscated and covered up their failings. The OIPRD found in a report that their investigation was racist and incompetent, and yet, surprisingly, Chief Hoff held on, that is the chief of the Thunder Bay Police Service, held on to this case. And it was only when the family wrote in August and then December again of 2020, insisting on the matter being investigated by the Broken Trust OIPRD team, that it was sent over to them. And then within 3 months, they realized it had criminal implications. So what were the Thunder Bay Police covering up over 5 years? And it really begs the question how this service can continue to exist, frankly.
Given all that, Julian, and like you mentioned, it's been 6 years, why decide to revisit this case now?
So I can't speak for the OPP investigators, and I can't speak for the Office of the Chief Coroner. What I can tell you, having been involved literally close to from day one in this matter, dating all the way back to Stacy's death in 2015. There were things that the Thunder Bay Police simply were blind to and were incompetent in how they did business. And this is not just the case of one death. The Thunder Bay Police Service has systematically ignored Indigenous deaths and have systematically obstructed, frankly, efforts to get to the bottom of many of these deaths. And so they sat on this case for over 5 years claiming, you're not going to believe this, they claimed that the reason they couldn't reinvestigate the death of Stacy DeBungee was that officers were up for discipline charges for bungling the investigation in the first place. So they gave priority to the discipline matters involving the officers' incompetence in not investigating Stacy DeBungee's death as an excuse not to investigate the death. I'm sorry that this sounds tortured, but that's how utterly ludicrous the world of the Thunder Bay Police is. So finally, the coroner's office and the Broken Trust team gave in to the request by the family in December of 2020 to take a look at the file. When they did, within 3 months, they realized it had criminal ramifications and sent it on to the OPP. 3 months. The irony to that, of course, is the Thunder Bay Police had it for 5 years and did nothing. You really got to wonder.
Julian, what do you see as happening next with this whole process and investigation?
Well, this is make it up as you go. I've never seen it. I've been at this for 30 years as a lawyer. I'm sorry, Dennis, I'm a bit of an old fart. I've been at it for 30 years. I've never seen anything so circuitous and tortured. It's simply proof positive that Indigenous deaths in Thunder Bay don't matter. And so it's anybody's guess what's next. I'm hopeful that the OPP do a good job. I think they're trying. I think it's a good example of what can happen if you hire a police service that's responsible to people outside of the Thunder Bay borders. Because understand, Dennis, the real problem with the Thunder Bay Police Service is they are precisely the police service that those in power in Thunder Bay want. There are many good people in Thunder Bay, but the ones in power in Thunder Bay, this is the police service they want. And so they'll never change, right? And when an organization like the OPP, responsible outside of the boundaries of Thunder Bay, gets involved, hey, you might even get some competent policing, some racist-free policing. You might even get a proper death investigation. I'm sounding facetious. I apologize, but this is utterly in the land of the ludicrous. 6 years later. And to this day, you have other Indigenous deaths. There are 9 deaths that this Broken Trust OIPRD team claims to be investigating. Guess who sits on the executive committee investigating these deaths? You guessed it, Chief Sylvia Hoff of the Thunder Bay Police Service. In other words, to this day, this leader of the Thunder Bay Police Service doesn't get what conflict of interest means. Like, apparently she doesn't have a dictionary where she can look up the words conflict of interest. And so she sits, and her lawyer and her are directly involved in producing a report into the other 9 deaths. What possibly can come from this but more, other than more cover-up? It's just embarrassing.
And they keep pushing the date back on those reinvestigations too. Julian, we'll have to leave it there, but appreciate you taking some time for us here today.
My pleasure, Dennis.